we can start fresh. So you should have a little pop-up now that says that we'll be recording the session. So as quick introductions, my name's Ben Atkins. I'm the Admissions Marketing and Recruitment Manager here at the University of Birmingham, Birmingham Law School. And today's session is going to be a little bit of an introduction about Birmingham Law School and the sort of things you can expect. So we're very lucky to be joined today by Mr. Paul McConnell, who is our Head of Global Engagement at the Law School, and Norlia as well, who's one of our students here. So I'm going to now hand over to Paul, who's going to deliver a bit of a presentation about the law school.
Thank you very much, Ben, and hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, I have got a presentation that I'm going to deliver, but I'm really keen to make it as useful as possible for you as well. So obviously, if you have got any questions whilst I'm presenting, or even at an early stage in the presentation that you want to type into the chat function, then you're really welcome to do that, and I'll keep an eye on the chat, and anything that comes up, I'll make sure I cover the points in the presentation so that you can get what you need to out of this. Now, at this point, I'm just going to share my screen so that hopefully you can all see this presentation that I'm going to deliver. There we go. So, as Ben said, I'm Paul McConnell, the Head of Global Engagement at Birmingham Law School. I'm also a member of teaching staff at the law school, and I work very closely with all of our students, but particularly those from Canada. I'll show you what we're planning to do. I was going to say this afternoon, it's actually the evening here in Birmingham. And there's a number of different points we're going to be covering. First of all, briefly, I'll explain why you might decide to study a law degree in the UK. I'll then introduce you to the University of Birmingham. Then I'll talk a bit about University of Birmingham Law School, but then probably the really useful bit for you if you're thinking about coming to study in the UK. We'll be hearing a student perspective from one of our fantastic current students who I'm sure will have lots of interesting things to tell you, and she'll be really happy to answer all your questions. So let's get started. There we go. With just thinking why you might study a law degree in the UK. Obviously, every country has its own law degree, but the UK law degree is particularly well recognised worldwide, particularly as a result of the Commonwealth heritage of many countries. There's very high recognition for English law. Also, in the business world, English law is second only to American law in terms of the frequency of its use in business transactions. The English degree, therefore, opens up a legal career to you in England, many other countries around the world, and of course, Canada. And obviously, most of the students who do come to us from Canada do have the intention ultimately of transferring back and pursuing a legal career in Canada. The English law degree does transfer back easily. There's this NCA conversion process you go through, whereby once you've got your English degree, you do a number of Canadian conversion exams called NCAs, potentially. And once you've completed those, that puts you in the position as if you had a Canadian law degree to progress through the training process as a lawyer in Canada. Now, there's different ways of tackling your NCA conversion exams, but to give you a rough guide, most students have between 5 to 7 exams to do. Options include studying for those yourself, or there's master's degree courses you can do at a few Canadian universities like University of Toronto, Osgoode Hall, which is part of York University, and also University of British Columbia, which convert your English qualification to one that you can qualify with in Canada. Every year, it's a process that hundreds of Canadian students go through, having come back from the UK. So, as well as the recognition for the English law degree, why else would someone come to England from Canada? Well, it's actually a much quicker process to qualify as a lawyer with an English law degree. I'm not sure for those of you watching at what stage you're at in your education at the moment, but one option is to come straight to England from high school and do a 3-year law degree, which is obviously much quicker than the Canadian process of doing a non-law degree first before moving on to studying law. For those of you who already have degrees, there's an option, which is the most popular one, to do a two-year accelerated law degree following your initial Canadian degree. So that does make the whole process quicker than moving through the Canadian legal education system. You may also be aware that there's actually only a relatively small number of Canadian universities which offer law degrees, and entry is highly competitive. In the UK, we've got many fantastic law schools, over 100 in fact, and it's possible for students to gain places at really high-ranked law schools, such as University of Birmingham, coming from Canada, where we really value the excellence of our Canadian students. We have no LSAT in nearly all English law schools, which makes entry in that sense a little bit less stressful and easier to secure. And thinking about the whole process overall, one of the really useful things you can gain from studying in England is overseas experience. And that does give you something different from a student who's only studied in Canada. I'm sure we'll hear more about that later, but many of our students really enjoy the opportunity to travel in the UK and Europe whilst they're here, and also gain new experiences such as legal work experience or getting involved in different community activities in the UK that they couldn't have done in Canada. So to conclude then, studying law in the UK is a very popular option for Canadians. Hundreds of people a year do it, and it's a well-established path with a number of benefits to it. One of the universities which is very well known for Canadian students is the University of Birmingham. Currently in the law school, we have over 100 Canadian students studying law with us, which is one of the largest Canadian intakes in England. So I'd like to start off just introducing you to the University of Birmingham in case you're not familiar with us. As obviously we're online today, you can see on screen a picture of our campus. It's an old Victorian campus at its heart, and the building that you can see at the bottom of the screen, just beneath the clock tower with the word introduction over it, is in fact the law school. So if you come to study with us, you're studying right in the heart of our campus. That's another picture that just gives you a different perspective on the campus, and you can see actually how big it is in a lovely green parkland area of the city. A few facts about University of Birmingham: we're over 100 years old and very well known worldwide. We're in the top 100 universities worldwide, and a really large university, the fourth biggest in the UK. A particular feature of our student population is its diversity. We have a huge number of students from all over the world, from over 150 countries in fact, but certainly in the law school, Canadian students are the biggest group of international students who study with us. A couple of things that we know are very attractive for students looking at the University of Birmingham. We are one of the original members of what's called the Russell Group. If you've not heard of that, that's equivalent to the American Ivy League, this group of elite British universities that have been working together for many years now. Another key attraction for students is the fact that we hold a gold teaching excellence rating. The UK government periodically rates the English universities for their teaching quality, awarding a gold, silver or bronze ranking, and we're really pleased to have a gold rating. So that was a quick run through of the university. In summary, a really well-known, high-quality Russell Group university with a highly international focus. Let me now introduce you to University of Birmingham Law School. Like the university itself, we're old. We've been around for over 100 years, and we're a very large school with over 1,000 students and 80 teaching staff. As I've said, it's an international student body, including many students from Canada. And if I was to pick out the things that really distinguish the law school, one would be that international profile. The other, which you'll hear us talk quite a lot about, would be the focus on employability and career support, making sure that all of our students, whatever they want to do, have the access to the best possible careers advice and support to help them move on with their journey of qualifying as a lawyer or finding another professional career to pursue. So looking at what we offer, we actually have a wide range of different law programs. The two shown in red are the most popular for Canadian students. The LLB is our biggest course. That's the 3-year law degree. Most Canadian students on that would be coming straight from high school to do that program. For those students who already have a degree from Canada or elsewhere, it's the program at the bottom of the screen, the LLB for graduates, the accelerated 2-year law degree that you can pursue. So what would you study if you came on a law degree? In actual fact, most English law degrees are similar. There's a lot of the subjects you have to study in order to have your degree recognised for entry to the legal profession. And also that applies to transferring your degree back to Canada. There's certain subjects you have to study. So most of your first and second year is made up of the subjects that you have to study, things like criminal law or contract law. But we do have a few distinctive courses within our programme that are unique to University of Birmingham. One of them is a really exciting new course that we've launched this year called Decolonising Concepts, which is looking at law from a variety of perspectives other than the traditional Western perspective of law, and looking at how law impacts on our different groups in society and deals with issues of diversity and justice. As I said, most of what you do on the 2-year degree is compulsory subjects, but if you have a look at the second year, one really good feature is you do also have some options. So you do have elements of choice to personalise the degree to areas that you're interested in. So just to show you what those options are, you can see there's a really wide list available. We have a Canadian constitutional law option shown in red, which many of our Canadian students do. But really, whatever you're interested in, you can add in 3 of those subjects to your 2-year degree and personalise the programme to meet your interests. You can see if you're interested in business law, there's things like commercial law, company law, intellectual property. If you're interested in international law, there's many options there. Many options also on the criminal justice system or human rights. So those options add into the core subjects and give you a really diverse, interesting degree programme. If you're interested in the 3-year programme, again, much of it is required subjects, but you'll see that in your 3rd and final year, you have actually 5 optional subjects, so an even greater level of personalisation of the programme. So that's what you study if you come on your degree. I'll explain how studying at law school works in England. There's a combination of different teaching methods, but these split between lectures, which are the large group sessions, and those are designed to introduce you to topics. So let's say you're studying criminal law. You have several lectures a week to introduce you to themes on criminal law. Alongside your lectures, you have seminars, which is small group classes of 10 to 15 students. Those take place in most courses on a weekly basis. Putting it all together then, you typically would have, I'd say on average, about 12, 13, 14 hours per week in class. And the rest of the time is independent study, working on your understanding of the law, completing assessments, and so on. Obviously, law is a new subject for students that come to join us, so we make sure that you're fully supported with personal tutors. We have an international student tutor, and all of our staff have regular office hours, we call them, where they're available to assist you and support you with your studies. Wondering what it's like for a Canadian student. As I've said, we're a really well-known university for Canadian students. We currently have, I think it's nearly 120 Canadian students on our law programs. We also have 2 Canadian faculty members, one of whom herself is a graduate of University of Birmingham. Additionally, as you've seen, we have a Canadian constitutional law option course, which many of our Canadian students do. We have a Canadian society. And then I think the particular attraction for Canadian students at Birmingham is that it's been over 15 years now that large numbers of Canadian students have been coming to the university. And that means that we have many alumni back in Canada and actually all over the world who are successful lawyers. And we really keep in contact with those alumni and make sure that they're available to network with and provide advice to our current students. That means that we can offer really good Canadian support in terms of careers, and I'll talk a bit more about that later on. So, drawing on that issue of careers and employability, hopefully what you've got so far is that we're a well-known, well-established law school. We cater very well for Canadian students, and I suppose in terms of other distinguishing features, a huge attraction for a lot of students is what's called Kepler, the Centre for Professional Legal Education and Research. This is a distinctive feature of Birmingham Law School. We're not just an academic law school, we have this separate centre, and I'm actually a member of that centre, staffed by people like me who are actually lawyers, who help our students develop their professional skills and their careers. Within Kepler, as I'll explain, we have a really comprehensive careers service to support our students. We also have pro bono opportunities, which is voluntary legal work opportunities where you can go out into the community and advise members of the public and gain legal work experience. We have an advocacy division where you can develop your verbal communication skills in things like courtroom advocacy, interviewing and negotiation. Every year we offer over 100 different work experience placements to students through Kepler. And also in our teaching, a number of the options that we offer are actually professionally rather than academically focused and help you to develop the skills that you need to work successfully as a lawyer in legal practice. So that's quite a distinctive feature of the law school, the professional rather than the academic perspective. Talking a bit about the career support, which I know the students really appreciate, we have a weekly programme of careers events so that every week, usually on a Wednesday, there's a series of sessions that help to give students information and connections to support them in their careers. That's not just focused on UK careers. We have an annual International Careers Week, which is actually a couple of weeks away, where we engage with lots of our international alumni and ensure that our students receive all the relevant information they need. We also have an annual Canadian Careers Conference, which takes place in February, where we have a day of events on careers just for our Canadian students. Other highlights include our annual law fair, where we have last year over 60 well-known law firms coming to campus to meet our students. And in fact, quite a number of our Canadian students did get jobs with large international law firms in the UK this last year. And as I've said, we also have a placements programme. I'm sure we'll be hearing quite a lot more about all of that in our student perspective that's coming up shortly. Now, before I move on, I can see that there's quite a few more of you joining us. So as I said at the start, for those that were here, welcome. And if you have any questions as we go through, please type them into the chat function and we'll make sure we deal with whatever areas you'd like to know a little bit more about. Now, I've spoken about the law school, the law course, and what's distinctive about the university, but I suppose I should finish my section of the session by just talking a bit about Birmingham. You may have heard of Birmingham, but you might not know much about the city. But it's a great city to study in. It's the second largest city in the UK, second only to London. It's located right in the heart of the UK. We're only a small country as well, so that's just over an hour away from London on the train. We have an international airport. And generally speaking, what students like is the fact it's a big city. So for students who are used to living in a big city in Canada, it's a comfortable experience living and studying here. We have a fantastic, thriving legal scene as the biggest legal centre in the UK outside of London, which gives lots of opportunities for networking and experience. And the real benefit is that you're in a big city, but the costs, the rental costs and so on, are around half the costs of being in London, even though you're only about an hour away on public transport. The university itself is what we call a campus university, so situated just a couple of miles away from the city centre area. And I'll show you actually on my next slide, just so you can see. In the foreground is the university campus with its famous clock tower, and then a couple of miles away across green parkland, you can see the city centre, the downtown area of Birmingham. It's really nice to be close to the city, but not right in the heart of it. It makes for a fantastic study environment. And you can see from the slide, we've got great resources on campus, fantastic sports centre, accommodation, and wonderful study facilities, so that it's a great experience for all of our students during their time with us. Now, that was my little overview, which I wanted to make quite brief, just to take you through why you might study in the UK and to give you information about University of Birmingham and Birmingham Law School. Now, I hope that that's been interesting. And I can see my colleague Ben encouraging you. If you have any questions, please do ask. But I think probably at this point I should stop talking, because obviously I can talk for ages about Birmingham Law School, but I imagine that as potential students of law in England, you might be interested to hear from someone who's currently studying law at University of Birmingham. So I'd like to introduce Norley, who's one of our current students, and she'll tell you a little bit more about her experience, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hello again, my name is Norlia. I'm going into my second year of the LLB for Graduates program. For a little bit of context, I'm 24 years old. I graduated from York University in 2018 with a BA with honors in criminology. After I graduated, I took a year off for personal reasons and was able to work part-time, so that was great. And in September 2019, so about a year ago, I flew to the UK to study law at the University of Birmingham. So because I did a 4-year undergraduate degree at York, I was able to apply for the LLB for Graduates program, which is 2 years. And the reason I chose the University of Birmingham was because I wanted to be in the city, but not necessarily central London. So this was perfect. I also, where is I? I also attended a lot of networking events before actually flying out and making a decision to attend the University of Birmingham, where I was able to meet Paul and my tort law professor for first year, which was Samantha Schnobel, and she is actually Canadian as well and an alumni of the university, which was great. And this gave me a better feel of the school and the teaching staff. There were also current students and alumni students at these events, so that really helped me choose the school, and it gave me a better sense of the community and how the teaching staff was. The campus is also beautiful. And so for my first year, like Paul went through, I didn't choose any of my courses. The only different course as opposed to this coming September is I did Law in Action, which is essentially rewriting a judgment from a case that you get to choose from. For my upcoming year, I do have to take the mandatory courses that were also listed. So legal foundations of EU law, land law, and equity, wills, trusts, and formalities. Because I'm unsure of exactly what law I want to practice, I chose a variety of different electives, or they call it modules. So I chose to do Canadian constitutional law, and this was specifically for the NCAs when I do return to Canada and convert my degree. I took family law and commercial law and tax law, which was combined because of the pandemic. So studying in the UK is different than studying in Canada. So first and foremost, the grading criteria is completely different, which I do recommend you guys to familiarize yourself with before getting like your assignments, or if you have some free time. It really does help. The environment itself, I don't think it's the same as US or Canadian law schools. I usually get the stigma of students being stuck up and maybe cutthroat. I don't find that at the University of Birmingham or in the UK at all, which I think is really, really important. I also didn't find it difficult adjusting to the UK system. So because I did my degree in criminology, I'm very used to all the readings and all the essay writings. However, I do find that some people in my cohort who came from maybe like a science background did find the readings a lot, but they did get used to it fairly quickly, so that's good. A lot of them found that there were a lot of readings, and I feel that if you try to do all of the readings, that's a main part of your stress. And I think what's most important is just know what works best for you and go with it. And so aside from schoolwork itself, there are so many groups, societies, and sports teams to join at the university. And last year, I volunteered as a student rep. I attended a lot of the Kepler events that you will soon be able to see. I also joined ELSA, and I decided to work towards a personal skills award, which is on top of your degree. And in the upcoming following year, I plan on doing the exact same thing. However, the only difference is this year I'll be a part of the Birmingham Pro Bono group as a flag coordinator, which is the free legal advice group, which I'm super excited about. So in terms of all of that, yes, there is time to join extracurriculars, and I do recommend you guys to do so. And what else do I have to say? I guess to end things off, I do have a few tips that has helped me and hopefully could be of use to you guys. So first, if you decide to go to campus or do fly out to the UK, I do suggest to bring a good, solid, sturdy umbrella along with rain boots and a raincoat. Don't forget to buy a wall converter or adapter for your electronics. So for your computer, your phone, I do recommend buying it before going to the UK because it can be a little bit pricey at the airports. Familiarize yourself with the British grading system. So when you do get your marks back, you aren't completely surprised. And if you're going to the UK and you aren't sure if you're going back for the Christmas break, I do recommend to go home for December because a lot of students decided not to go and they were very homesick, and I felt that it helped me, and coming back in January I did a lot better. I felt more refreshed and was ready to tackle on the second and third semester. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you.